So President Obama goes back to Kenya post-presidency, and the aftermath of his return trip to Kenya, BBC News today, BBC World Service News says Kenya's controversial biometric project, a $60 million government initiative to collect the data of millions of Kenyans, has been criticised by civil rights groups. The aim is to store the fingerprints, personal data and ID numbers of the entire population of Kenya. Some civil rights groups are so concerned that they have taken the matter to Kenya's High Court that will, in a few weeks' time, make a decision about the project. Karen Weitzberg is a teaching fellow at the University of London and is currently working on a project on ID cards and biometrics in Kenya. Now have a listen to this clip. It's all part of the same news article.
What the Kenyan government aims to do is to biometrically register virtually the entire Kenyan population and consolidate Kenyans' data into a single digital database and issue every single Kenyan with a unique identity number.
And part of the reason for that, and I remember this coming up quite a lot when I was in Nairobi myself, is the fact that they need to be able to identify people when incidents like what happened at Westgate, the recent terrorist attack at the luxury Dusit Hotel, when those sorts of things happen, they say that they'd like to be able to call up that information. So to that extent, it seems like a good initiative.
That's certainly what the Kenyan government is claiming, but it's not entirely clear how digitally and biometrically registering people is going to necessarily lead to better security, especially with these underlying problems in the background, issues of discrimination, concerns with how the verification process is going to work, concerns with the security of Kenyans' personal information.
What's the worst thing that can happen?
That's a great question, and I think that the lack of transparency in civic education really raises a lot of concerns. Data is a really valuable political and economic commodity, and the company, the French multinational company that's helping the Kenyan government roll this out, would never be able to take on a contract like this in France, where there's strict guidelines and a robust data privacy laws. So there's just a lot of unanswered questions swirling around the program. What will happen to this data? What will happen to people who are undocumented, who can't register? How will the verification process work? What happens if later down the line the Kenyan government decides to tie a Duma number to certain rights? So it's hard to say. It may in the end be a relatively benign initiative, but there may also be serious causes for concern as well.
Yep, it's malevolent. It's not benign. Okay, did you notice how they said, because
Hello there, I'm Ed Butler. Welcome to Business Day.
Because of previous events like the Westgate Mall shooting in Nairobi, Kenya, this is now being implemented. Need I remind people that Obama's presidency was broken down from Inauguration Day 2009 to a 6-year, 6-month, 6-day period. And in that time period, Obama finally showed up on the 666th number that I just quoted then in Kenya for the first time during his presidency. But previous to that, there was the Westgate Mall shooting, there was the Garissa University attack, and both of those were to the number of Obama's name. I've covered this many times, the Kenyan massacres in the lead up to Obama's trip to Kenya during his presidency. And now you have a biometric identification card being unleashed upon the total population of Kenya. And who knows whether that's going to be connected to their ability to buy and sell through banking and commerce. What a diabolical, not benign, a malevolent system. The 666B system is being unleashed in Kenya. Take a moment of reflection to think of what Christians who are awake to this must be going through, instead of sitting on your high horse on a YouTube channel declaring that the rapture is imminent and coming tomorrow. Jesus Christ is not coming back to save you anytime soon. The whole world will be saturated with the biometric mark of the beast system before Christ comes back to gather the remnant church. And when he does come, he's going to say, as Scripture says, will he find faith on the earth? Thanks for listening.